Hi, I'm Todd from BlastOne here in Columbus. Today we want to go through the certain type of dryers that we sell and that we rent out and give you a quick rundown of the use case for each of them and how to actually use it once you get on the site. When your dryer first gets to the site, you're going to notice that it has a ton of different inlet connection points on it. Down here we have a 2-inch spud and a 2-inch close foot, just so depending on what you have on site to use, we want you to have the functionality of whatever you already have there. And we also offer on the 1600 dryers the 3-inch spud connection for the full CFM that you can get with that. Right off the rip, before you want to make sure that you look and you notice one of these expansion tanks says inlet and one of them says outlet. You always want the compressor to be connected to the inlet side of the dryer so that you can actually use the dryer for what the function of it is. If you hook up to the outlet, you'll actually be bypassing a lot of the drying capabilities because the internals of the pressure tank itself are set up so that the air comes in through the inlet, comes into the expansion tank, and then goes through the marbles, the deliquescent, and then back out through to your outlet. First thing you want to make sure you do every day is come down here at the bottom of these expansion tanks. You just want to burp it to see if you have any excess moisture. And especially on your inlet side, you really want to make sure that you're not noticing an absorbent amount of oil coming from your compressor. If you do crack this and you see a lot of oil there, that is going to mean that you're going to want to check your compressor to make sure that you don't have any oil leaks anywhere and that you're not going to hinder whatever surface that you're going to be spraying with this, because eventually, inevitably, that oil will be able to get all the way through the system. We also have another ball valve on the bottom of this expansion tank. You want to do the same thing on the outlet side. You just give it a burp, see if there's anything coming out of it. Before and after you energize the system and you put air to it, before especially, you want to just give this handway a jiggle to make sure it's not loose. And then after you pressurize the tank, very gently come over and see if you have any movement here also. Always depressurize the tank if you have to tighten this handway. You can do it without depressurizing, but for safety reasons, it's smarter to just depressurize the tank, avoid blowing the cap off, and then tighten it and then juice the system back up. This is used for two things. It's used to alleviate moisture in the pressure tank, and it's also we use it to dump the system once you're ready to. Here in Columbus, we've started putting 150 PSI pressure relief valves on each of our dryers. This is just a safety feature to make sure that the tank doesn't take any more pressure than it should have. And also, if you do notice this, you might want to check and make sure that your compressor is set to what you should have it set on. 120 PSI is what the majority of our equipment is set to run off of. So if you do notice that this keeps popping off, it's probably a better idea to lower the pressure and just make sure that everything is all squared away still. One of the other tools that we give you in order to dry the air as much as possible is this Aftercooler fan that you can see right here. And all this does is drop the temperature of the air as much as possible coming out of the compressor so that once it is in the expansion tank, you can get the most amount of moisture out and you can lower that temperature so at the nozzle, you're not going to get any extra moisture or any abrasive clumping or anything like that. Right here you have your regulator, your moisture separator, and your oil reservoir for the fan. You're going to want to make sure that the oil reservoir is full every single day. The oil you're going to want to fill in here is going to be the non-freezing air tool oil. This is just so that the fan can stay lubricated because there's actually Kevlar fans inside of the base that spin around, and you want to make sure everything in there is lubricated because the fan can't actually get stuck. So that's why you want to check this daily. and visually check and make sure that you don't see any leaks, you don't feel any leaks, and there's nothing burning or happening on the fan itself. If you notice on the top of this regulator, right here is the knob where you're gonna raise and lower your pressure. We recommend starting out around 80 PSI and going up to 100 on the fan. That's obviously gonna affect the speed of the fan spinning. Once you have air to the system and you're ready to turn on the aftercooler fan, you'll notice at the top of the oil reservoir, there's actually a dial. And this dial is where you're gonna to dial in how much or how little oil you want to be going to the air that's going to supply this fan motor. We recommend that you do a drop every 15 seconds if you can. You can actually see through the sight glass. Once you turn the air onto it, this will start to drip, and wait for the first full drip. Count to 15, get as close as that as you can, and you left to right to raise and lower the amount of oil that's going to go through right here. This is very important to make sure that that fan does not lock up. If you don't have enough oil, and let's say you're in a very dirty environment, 9 times out of 10 that fan's going to lock up. So you really want to make sure that this is dialed in and it's adequately lubricating everything inside of this housing. On the expansion tank for the outlet, you'll notice we have another 3-inch spud. So if you're connecting to one of our megas, you would run the bull hose from there to the mega. We also offer the same configuration as the inlet, just a little bit more connections. We offer 2 of the crow's feet and then 2 of the 2-inch spuds, just so you have all the options of what you need to connect in the field. We also put 2 Chicago lines on here, whether you use this for air tools or anything else that you have on site that you may need to connect onto the fresh air. So that's just a basic overview of how you're gonna hook up to our dryers once they first get on site. If you have any more questions, you can click the link below or contact your salesman and we can get that answer for you.